Hello, hello, welcome everyone. We are actually playing hard mode on the Halloween event now instead of Nightmare, and I will show you at the end of the battle here that kind of why we're playing hard mode instead of Nightmare mode. But yeah, so we have a good game here, so it was worth kind of showing off the game as well, and then that gives us a decent length YouTube video instead of like 30 seconds, right? So. But so basically there are missions each week, and I'm not sure if there's going to be more next week or not, but it's at least worth plowing through if you're interested in getting the Halloween themed commander guises. But there are missions to basically play hard mode. It's earn stars, and the stars are, of course, you're all familiar with this. The Protect Transylvania, they're all listed up in the top right. But basically it's earn X amount of stars per level, but playing on hard mode earns you the stars for normal and medium and everything. So it's worth just playing hard mode, because then you're kind of taking all you're completing all three missions all at the same time. So that's the most efficient way to do it, is just play hard mode battles until you get those completed, right? And then the other ones are things like once you get enough stars, then it unlocks a mission for do X amount of damage. Then you just basically play one more, and then as long as you do decent, the damage amounts aren't too tough to get, as long as you're smart with it. And then you can of course pick your ship. It doesn't matter which ship you play for these missions. You don't need to be destroyer, cruiser, and battleship. You can be battleship the entire time, which for hard mode I'm finding is the most valuable, especially to help allies that don't do that great in this game mode. Basically your role as the battleship is, and the other thing too, like, keep an eye on what I'm doing. So I'm backing up right now, but we moved forward just enough so that our secondary batteries would trigger against these enemies that are coming in, right? So if you're not using your secondary batteries, you're it's wasted guns on your ship, right? So you need to use those. You need to get in range and then move back. So don't put yourself so far out there that you get annihilated by the enemy. But you want to be just enough so that those secondary batteries start firing.
Enemy cruisers sunk.
And then a lot of times when like we've got two ships off our bow right now, and for the most part I've been ignoring them quite a bit and just letting the secondary batteries kind of whittle them down. This Scarab was getting close to the circle, that's why I was like, okay, we got to do something about him finally. And then this, of course, this one's gone its way too, right? So we'll work on them first. But that's kind of my strategy with this. But what I was saying, like, your role as the battleship too, a lot of people are pretty selfish in this game mode and don't use the heal unless they need it. But keep an eye on your allies that are close to you and see if they are weak, and then use your heal even if you don't need it just yet, because it literally comes back. It's a 1 minute on, 1 minute off. So it doesn't take that long for it to come back, and you can keep your allies alive, and it makes a huge difference in making the game go faster and actually completing the task, right? So, but yeah, as you can see, the destroyer was in range of secondaries. Secondaries were working him, so I was kind of ignoring him. I also noticed it is worth shooting destroyers with your main batteries when you got HE loaded. It does quite a bit of damage, and a lot of the destroyer players don't like shooting at and going after the destroyers, right? So it has seemed to be worth getting them off the board and causing incapacitations and fires on them. And then our main strategy with this game mode as well is we use the HE shells for the most part and target those ships that are further out and try and trigger fires on them, right? So we're keeping an eye out for where torpedoes are here, so we can use the invincibility shield, right? But yeah, so what we'll do is we'll use HE on these ships that are far out, trigger fires, and then just keep doing that and switching between ships and triggering fires on all of them. And then by the time they show up at your doorstep here by Transylvania, a lot of times they're pretty weak and pretty easy to manage, right? And a lot of times you can just let the secondary batteries take care of them while you continue to focus on ships that are far out and triggering fires on them, right? So you'll see me switch to other ships to try and trigger fires on multiple at a time. And then with the battleships, of course, if you've got good broadside shots on the battleships, AP is the way to go there. So it's kind of unique because it's a little bit different strategy than the main game modes. Typically you're using, if you're a battleship, you're using AP most of the time. But here we're using HE most of the time, trying to get that damage over time to whittle down enemies as we're playing, right? So we switch back to HE. We're gonna shoot these eternal scarabs and pestilent varge. But yeah, it's much more, you get so frustrated trying to play nightmare mode, and it's like, well, you know what, my time's better utilized here because I'm getting, I'm completing those missions. The game mode's not, it's not so stressful and annoying that, because you're not, most of the time your allies survive. So yep, rinse and repeat. We're triggering fires. This our allied destroyers lobbing torpedoes this way as well, so if he triggers floods, those guys will be losing health pretty quick as well. But yeah, I've noticed the battleship's not like where you haven't lit a fire on him, so I was still trying the same one, but this scarab over here is gonna go behind the silence. So I was like, all right, we should try and trigger something on him, but nope, failed. Come on. Need a fire here. You gotta be kidding me. So yeah, we're gonna start backing up as these guys get into secondary battery range, right? And then I'm triggering the heal, even though we're not really that low. We got the cruiser behind us. The cruisers am noticing really struggle when people play the cruiser. And it is tough. You go down crazy fast, especially in nightmare mode. I want to say after Circle 5, it's just doesn't make any sense to use a cruiser unless you're really hanging way back. But yeah, it seems to be destroyers might be the way to go in those later circles. I don't know. I personally am not having success, so that's why we're playing hard mode and unlocking Commander Guises and doing so. So this is more enjoyable of an experience, right? If it's not fun, I'm not playing it. Alright, so we got AP loaded, so this makes sense to shoot this battleship. Then we got one to our right, and we're just gonna let the secondary batteries whittle him down. Come on, give us some chunks. Thank you.
Enemy battleship destroyed.
Yep, and then we got a cruiser as well from fire. So either secondary has triggered fire on him, or it was one that we triggered fire long ago. So we'll switch back to HE, and we'll move up a little bit, and kind of rinse and repeat exactly what we just did, right? So ideally, you'd have some of the, your other battleship would be doing the exact same thing, just to the right of this island that's to our right, kind of splitting those zones. So we've kind of split. We're pointing at the middle portal where enemies are coming from, right? And so we can take this portal on the left, and we can help manage the portal up the middle. The portal on the far right, far out there, is kind of the one we can't hit too well. But somebody, a battleship in between those two islands, and that, the opposite spot of where we are would be just perfect to be able to do that. And then as all these guys get closer, they're gonna start, the secondary batteries are gonna start working them. So yep, we're just gonna trigger fires on these guys and let them approach. And we'll just keep switching between them. So we're at full stop right now, and then once we notice our secondary battery starting to fire, we'll start backing up. Sometimes, like if the game's getting like stressed, like if we're getting pinched, a lot of times I'm backing up all the way back to where Transylvania is. Obviously, you just want to make sure that ship survives, right? Otherwise, you don't get any stars. You gotta start all over, and it was completely worthless to play the game right. Our destroyer's really out there. And the other thing too on hard mode, I'm noticing if you know, a lot of times we're losing ships, right? So we'll lose 1 or 2 allied ships, and as long as the other folks know what they're doing, it still doesn't seem that bad. Whereas like nightmare mode, it's like if you lose a ship, I'm like, it's over, we're done. Like you just want to give up. I'll still play it out, but like, you know, I'm not one to like just like throw away the ship, but. Unless I'm the last guy, and I know it's not possible, but yeah, like it's just a point where you just need firepower, and you don't have enough guns to shoot literally all these ships, and so you know you need everyone to survive, and people tend to throw away their ships, and I think that's probably what's happened is like there's, you know, up until you hit that like nightmare mode like 6 and 7. You could probably lose a ship here and there, and so those folks that aren't playing it right are able to you know, die early in their destroyer, cruiser, or whatever, and then everyone else picks up the slack, and then they, you know, they still get credit for winning that match, right? Even though they died early. But we are already up to 500,000 damage done, $500,000 for us. We'll switch to AP since these battleships are, 2 of them over here, are sailing broadside to us. And then we'll let the secondaries work on the cruiser in front of us, as well as Rasputin's up there too. And then this nearest battleship to us, just to the left of where we're aiming, he's within secondary battery range. So we've got secondaries going on both sides of the ship. We're backing up and staying with these guys. And then we're shooting the further out battleship with AP, right? So we're kind of just, you know, this is kind of how you have to do it. You got to figure out how you can be attacking multiple ships at once, even though you've only got one cursor to aim with, right? So secondaries, don't underestimate them. They're doing their job. And then our allied battleship's got his heel going. So that's been working out too. I kind of was sort of trying to pay attention to when he was launching it or using his, and then we would try and alternate, right? That's kind of what's going to work best for you too. So we're healing right now, but we actually don't have any damage done. So once ours, but yeah, he's weak. You know, he's lost some health. So once ours is ready, we'll use it so that we can keep him up in health as well. Yeah, not enough people playing battleships are looking around at their allies. They're saving that heal for when they need it, and that's it. And you gotta, it's only a minute cooldown, you know, so use it for your allies. Keep them alive. Makes the game so much easier to keep them alive too. So we're taking shots at the cruiser, but we're headed towards Rasputin, and we'll use the invincibility shield and ram him. This is also a good way to get your damage numbers up really quick here at the end. It's a good strategy too, because by the time he comes in, you know, you've only got a minute or 2 left in the game. So it makes sense to take him out this way, and it's fun as hell, right? Why not finish the game with the ram? We like finishing games with rams in standard game mode too, so yeah, no. We'll just go quick, really check out what we've accomplished here during this game. But like I said, so yeah, you only get these rewards once, but you still get these stars that still count towards these missions here. So we'll hit X and review progress, and these are the ones I'm talking about. So by playing hard mode, we got 5 stars for all 3 of these missions. So it makes sense to just always play hard mode. And then, yeah, we made 55,000 credits. Big whoop. All right, so here's the mission, the Halloween ones. And then once you complete, you know, Havoc SOAR 1, it'll unlock 2, which is basically play the game mode and get, you know, X amount of damage. So 150, then 250, then 350. And those can be done by playing hard mode as well. So it just makes sense to play hard mode If you're struggling with hard mode, you can still play the normal and the easy and normal, right? To get the first few missions, but then you'll be playing more matches if you do end up wanting to do the hard one. So it's most efficient to do the hard one. So yeah, so we're at 4,000 of these Havoc coins available, and those missions give us more, so we'll have enough. And we've already bought one of the Commander Geises. So I'm thinking you can buy either 2 Commander Geises or Rasputin, right, without having to pay real money and buy a bunch of Halloween crates or something. So, you know, if you're doing these missions each week, I'm not sure if there will be more next week, but you can probably at least get a Commander Geist out of it instead of the challenges of playing Nightmare mode the whole time. But thank you for watching until the end, everybody. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to do a World of Warships video at least every day. Thanks for watching.